Hey everybody, welcome to Dave's Saturday Podcast. I don't know the episode because I haven't recorded in a while. You're probably wondering, why am I posting all of a sudden? I haven't posted in forever. That's because I was dealing with a lot and now I'm not anymore. So I'm back, baby. Okay, so let me catch you up on my life. I moved to Texas and then I realized I didn't like stand up and I felt lost and I stopped doing the podcast because I didn't know if I even wanted to do that. But I do like the podcast, and I also learned that I like writing a heck of a lot more than I thought, to where it's like my favorite thing. So maybe I'll end up as a writer, and I enjoy the podcast, but I think I enjoy talking to people more. Honestly, one of my favorite things is just having conversations with people. So I'm gonna do a talk show and then put that out there, and that'll be it for performance-based entertainment. And then all of the writing will continue on probably until I'm in my 40s, and because I can do that when I have kids, and it's like not an issue. There's no schedule issues, there's no conflict issues, and then so it's pretty great. It's kind of perfect, and I also don't have to deal with other people with that one. Well, I guess I will if I write really well. But other than that, I mean, yeah, that's it. So that's the update. Yeah. So this week I just decided, well, I'm going to start interviewing people because that's what I can do that. I figured out a way to do it. My first guest this week will be Caleb Smith. I grew up with him in Ohio. He's one of my best friends. We play video games a lot, and we talk over like this program called Discord, which I found you can just record those calls, which is how I got this in here. So yeah, here's my interview with Caleb Smith, and then afterward I'll talk a little bit more. But most of the podcast is just going to be me talking to people, so suck it up if you don't like it. Okay, here he is. But before it starts, I want to let you know that I've never done this before. I have no idea how to do this, so if it's bad, suck it up. I mean, really, this is like the Suck It Up podcast because I know it's going to be bad. It honestly won't even be that bad. It just won't be as entertaining as it will be probably in a few episodes when I figure out what I'm doing. But it's a learning curve. Everything's a learning curve. So, yeah. Okay, now I have to learn how to import this in Audacity. Here we go. Hi, Caleb. How are you?
I'm doing great, Farmer. How are you doing?
That's not my name. I'm doing pretty good out here in Texas. How's Ohio weather right now?
Ohio weather, it's all right. It had fall for like 1 week, and then it went back into like stupid summer. And then now it's back to fall temperature, and it's fantastic, and I love it.
Midwestern weather is so insanely annoying.
I hate it because like 1 year you'll have like a full month of like fall weather where you can like do bonfires. And then like another year you get like 3 days tops. And it goes straight from summer, 3 days of fall, and then freaking winter. But the times that we do get good fall seasons, it's fantastic. I love it.
Out here in Texas, you just get incinerated from March until November, and then it cools off, gives you a break. But I mean, I guess this last year they had the pretty bad winter. But other than that, it's these deal with being hot all the time.
Yeah. Now that big issue with the winter, that was because like Texas wasn't ready for like a big freeze, right? And it just happened and they were like, what do we do?
Well, the freeze was so extreme. A friend of mine, he lives up about an hour north, and he didn't have any power, and he was saying it got down to -10 one day.
If it gets down that low in Ohio, it's really bad. But in Texas, like no one's ready for that.
Yeah, yeah. So 2016, I remember you ate a waffle every day. Am I remembering that correct?
Yeah, so actually I think it was in 2017. But yes, I decided a friend of mine, she was going on running a mile every day for a whole year. And or she was going to try to run 1,000 miles in 1 year, which was like 3 to 4 miles each day. And I was like, you know what? I can't run like 3 to 4 miles a day, but I can eat like 3 to 4 waffles a day. So we kind of had a somewhat of a competition. And every time we'd see each other, we'd tell each other like how many, well, in my case, how many waffles I've eaten, in her case, how many miles she's run. But I ended up going quite a bit over 1,000 waffles. I think I got to 1,100 by the time it was like December 2nd. And I was like, I met my goal, so I'm going to stop counting. And I just stopped counting for the rest of the year. So I think I got close to 1,200 waffles in 1 year.
That is impressive. So, what kind of quality are we talking here? Did you just eat Eggos every day, or did you go and buy stuff to make it just from scratch? Did you do Belgian waffles? What were the waffles like?
So quite a few of them were just Eggo waffles because at the time, I was still going to college, and the days where I had to wake up early to go to class, I was like, I don't really want to make waffles. I'm already having to wake up early, so I just throw in like 3 or 4 of those. But days where I had a bit more time, I had like a recipe that I would use and use the waffle iron, and I would make like 6 pretty decent sized waffles in the morning, and I had the recipe because the recipe like that you find like it's like okay, here's how to make like 24 waffles, and I'm not gonna make 24 waffles, but I had figured out the exact amount of batter I needed to make along like for the perfect size for our waffle iron that I would be like right smack dab on the dot for like exactly 6 waffles, or if I wasn't feeling as hungry, exactly 3 waffles. And some of those mixes I would use just regular flour mixes. Some was more towards Belgian style, and others were just more sweet American style. Like I varied it up a little bit, but it was mainly whatever was easiest or whatever I was in the mood for that day.
Okay, so what makes a Belgian waffle different from an American waffle? Because I know Americans just love to dump sugar and everything, both for financial and taste reasons, and also I just whoever gets fattest first wins.
All I remember is that the regular waffle recipes that I was seeing around, yeah, they were just a lot sweeter. They had it seems like they just more fluffy and sweet, where it seems like other kinds were more dense and rich. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Okay, it makes sense to me.
the dense and rich ones, I couldn't eat 6 of those in one day. Now, given this was, right after high school, I was eating a lot more than I am now. I could eat so much and still be hungry. But the dense, rich ones, I could typically only eat 3 of them just because it sat heavy. Like it was one of those where you get a good breakfast and you might not even want lunch.
So Evergrande, do you know anything about what's going on with Evergrande?
I've heard a little bit. I've done a little bit. So recently, I've gotten into stocks and economies and such like that. So it has definitely been news about that has been in my feed, whether it be my YouTube or just stuff. But yeah, there was something where a big real estate giant out in China, like they like decided like they can't pay off some of their debts or something like that, right?
So how I understand it is it's like this company that owns a lot of houses that they'll sell to the Chinese people, and the company is going under, and they can't afford to give these people the houses they put down payments on. So they're basically defaulting, and people are losing their homes, and the Chinese government's just letting it happen because the Chinese government is they what they want is for Americans to get out of the Chinese economy and then build up an economy that's lower. So right now, uh, Americans are pulling their money out of the Chinese economy because Evergrande is going to fail. China's going to let it fail because anything that happens from them failing is benefiting China in the long run with what their goals are, which are to be a world superpower that doesn't have other people profiting off of them. And they want to keep all their money in, which is why they ban the Bitcoin trading as well. That's my understanding, but I could be wrong on a lot of points.
That's interesting. Yeah. So, because what I heard was very similar along those lines, where uh, basically they're in this cycle of they'd make big old high-rise apartment buildings and sell those off in order to get the money to pay their debts. And then there was some weird Chinese thing that all of a sudden basically destroyed that business model. So they had to have a lot more like assets on them or something, and yeah, they couldn't pay. And then China's like, well, we're not going to bail you out. And then now they're defaulting. But the side of like China wanting the US to get out of their economy, that's really interesting because I would think that they would want Americans like investing in China, but that's interesting.
Right. Yeah, I don't really understand that part either. I just know that China, like, they want to keep to themselves a lot more, and that would give them
Mhm.
the ability to both block what they're doing in their own country, from what other people are seeing, which they already do pretty well. We have no idea how they dealt with COVID.
Yeah.
And then genocide, they can do that easier if there are less people looking at them. Those types
Hmm.
of things. That's my assumption. In this communist country, they don't really have the morality. I think they prefer the Stalinism communism versus the Trotsky communism. The difference being the Stalinism does not like the people. The Trotsky is trying to be better than Stalin was, which, I mean, Trotsky was like a normal person and Stalin was a power monger.
Yeah, Stalin was he was a basket case.
I agree. Okay, this third question is interesting. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name off a couple teams that are going to be playing football tomorrow, and you're going to tell me who's going to win and why. And I know that you don't watch football at all, so this should be a lot of fun.
Oh, this will be very interesting.
So, I'll ask an easy one since you're in Ohio. The Browns are playing the Bears. Who's going to win and why?
I am going to give a little bit of my insight in this. So I have no idea what the heck actually is going on with the Browns. But I know, like, was it last year? COVID was crazy. But wasn't there something like the Browns actually did decent last year? I I don't know if that was just a weird glitch in the matrix where, all of a sudden the world is burning down and you know, the simulation that we're in decided like, oh no, we accidentally left a bug in there that made the Browns win something. But I'm gonna put my bets on the Browns. I don't like it's a weird time when I'm putting bets on the Browns, but I think they have a chance. I think they have a chance. I have no idea who's even playing on each team, but I'm gonna bet the Browns.
Okay, so that one you're right. They're 1-1 so far this season.
Wow,
Their one loss was to one of the best teams in the NFL by a large margin. However, the Texans, who are like, I can't really tell how they're doing right now because they don't have their quarterback, but the rest of their team is doing decent at least. The Browns beat them by 10. The Bears have had like a about the same as the Texans type deal. They beat the Bengals, but just barely. So yeah, I would agree with your assessment on the Browns winning. The Browns, I think they're going to have a really good season. I have them in like the top 10 teams.
really?
Yeah, because they're playing really well, and that's with people not playing at their best. So if they can get everything together, which usually happens around game 4 or 5, then I think they're playoff bound, maybe even late playoff.
Did they make it to the playoffs last year? Did they like win around or something?
I can't remember. It wouldn't shock me if they did. I know they lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs, who went on to lose to the Super Bowl. So they lost to the best team in there on their side in the AFC. Okay, next one. So the next one is the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Well, the fact that you just said the Chiefs did really well last year, I'm gonna say the Chiefs, and because I can't like I can somewhat remember some teams that pop up in the news, whether it be just random things talking about the playoffs or games or such, but I have not heard the Chargers name in a long time. So I have a feeling either that's because they're just so obsolete that like they're losing so much that it's not even worth mentioning. Um, but the Chiefs, I think they're gonna win. I'm gonna vote Chiefs.
Okay, you would also be right on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are doing very well. They're not doing super well compared to how they could be doing. They lost the game to the Ravens last week, but that was based on uh, that was because the Ravens they did a really risky play that paid off big. So the Ravens ended up winning that, but they won by one score.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, two left. These are the difficult ones that I don't even know who's gonna win. Uh, the Falcons and the Giants play tomorrow.
Ooh. See, Falcons are another one of those where I just haven't heard the name in so long. But the Giants, I know it's basically a meme that like they just can't do anything. So I even though I haven't heard the Falcons being brought up in quite a while, I'm gonna vote Falcons.
Okay.
No, I feel like it's gonna be one of those games where both teams are just like not so bad. It almost feels like, oh man, college football is a bit better, you know.
hmm Okay, so this one is very close. I think the Giants have they have a slight advantage on the statistics side. The Falcons have lost both games, and the Giants have lost both games. The Falcons have lost to the Eagles and the Buccaneers, and the Giants have lost to the Broncos, and they lost by 1 point to a division rival, which is the Washington Football Team, which is still the funniest thing that they have that name.
Just the Washington football team.
Yep, that's the name. So I disagree, but I also am a fan of Giants, so that's mostly why. I could go either way. Okay, last one, and this one will also be difficult because I have no clue who's going to win it. The Dolphins and the Raiders.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna put my vote on the Dolphins just because I know their program has. I know they kind of reset things a couple of years ago. They like got a new head coach. They kind of did a bunch of big changes. So I feel like they're making progress, but obviously they're not far enough to where they're dominating or doing really, really well. But the Raiders, I haven't heard anything of any good progress or any changes within the organization. So I'm going to vote for the Dolphins. I think they're the better in the long run. Now I think it might be a close game, but I'm going to vote Dolphins.
This one, I'm pretty sure the Raiders are going to win because they are playing really good football, and the Dolphins are doing pretty good, but I don't think they're doing well enough, like as good as the Raiders are. The Raiders beat the Ravens, who the next week went and beat the Chiefs,
Ooh,
and the Raiders beat the Ravens in overtime that first week, and then they went on to beat the Steelers, who I still have no idea how they're going to do this season. So I would put my money on the Raiders. The Dolphins, they lost 35 to nothing last week to the Bills, but the Bills are really
ouch.
good. So yeah, I think this is so much fun because you have no clue what you're talking
I have no idea what I'm talking about. I
about.
don't watch football.
But you're still kind of like coming up with good reasons on why they might win.
The only reasons I can come up with are like things I hear in passing, whether it be random news things or overhearing conversations about stuff. So I have no idea what the heck I'm talking about half the time.
Yeah. So yeah, the last question. You've just been kicked out of the United States in America, but you're allowed to go live in any other country in the world and take all of your assets here and have an equal job in the country you're going to. What country would you be living in?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. You say out of the US, would Puerto Rico work? Would that still technically be allowable?
I'm gonna go with no, only because Puerto Rico is owned by the U.S., right?
Yes, there are. It's like not a state, but it's like a weird relation there. But I didn't know if that would be allowed because it's not one of the 50 states or the District of Columbia. But it's I don't know. If I couldn't do Puerto Rico, I probably the UK, maybe maybe Norway or Sweden. I don't know. One of those places I think would be pretty cool.
Why do you want to live in Puerto Rico so bad?
Tax benefits. If I could keep all my assets, like,
Oh, okay.
if I could transfer all my assets there and then just go to heck yeah. Uh, although then I couldn't vote, but if I had to be forced to leave one of the 50 states, Puerto Rico would be nice. And it's close enough that still have some, it wouldn't be too terribly far. But if I couldn't do that, then I don't know. Yeah.
Just a
UK
European
or
country. Okay.
Ireland would also be or Ireland or Scotland, one of those that would also be that's high up in there. I don't know. Probably Ireland probably above Norway and Sweden. So it'd probably be the UK, then Ireland, Scotland, then Sweden, then Norway.
I find European, like specifically Scotland and Ireland, those accents so funny. There was no way I'd be able to live there because every time someone would talk to me, I'd start cracking up and they wouldn't know what's going on.
I love Scottish and Irish accents. Like, my goodness, I love them so much.
Well, I think it's been 20 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Feels like we just started, man. Nice talking with you, Farmer.
Hey, you too, Caleb. You have a good one. Okay, so there you have it. It's me and Caleb Smith. I hope you enjoyed. This is 20 minutes, so hey, that's as long as my podcasts are, and it's as long as I'll keep them. I don't have anything else to say. Maybe I'll say more tomorrow. I don't do podcasts every day. What do you think I have, all the time in the world? All right, I'm done. I'll talk to somebody next week. Probably this guy known as Nathan Burden. We'll see. Goodbye.